Today on the Fairy BOSSmother Show, meet Savannah Dodge,
I am an expert interior designer.
an interior designer whose work is rooted in eco-conscious design and sustainable living.
Fear of failure or fear of rejection, or I think it's more fear of like me not living up to the potential that I know that I have.
From the outside, her business is all about eco-living and intentional spaces.
Going into your house and just having like the space be you and being able to focus on your mental health, your physical health, being able to like connect with the people who are in your life, being able to connect with yourself.
But behind the brand, I couldn't see her, not fully.
That's probably where I'm stuck. I think that right there is where I'm struggling.
Savannah showed up with quiet strength, but I could feel fear underneath. You're scared that people are going to just put the phone down and say, "No, Savannah, I don't even want to hear it." Like, talk to the hand. She's holding back, but I can tell that she's on the verge of real transformation. Savannah Dodge is wanting a powerful personal brand. Do you think I can pull it out of her? No, Savannah, you're going to start doing your job on camera. That's it. Let's meet Savannah Dodge. Now, before we meet Savannah, I asked her a few basic questions about her business so that I can see how she talks about what she does. Let's have a look. When I asked her, what is your business all about and who do you serve? Savannah said, Savannah Dodge Interior specializing in creating soulful, sustainable spaces that harmonizes people, place, and planet. Our studio offers a full-scope interior architecture and furnishing service, transforming homes and investment properties into environments that support holistic living. All right. I love the fact that she's very intentional with what it is that she's doing. She's using words like soulful, sustainable spaces, harmonizing, not just the people and the space, but the planet itself. This girl has really big goals, and I want to see how she pulls all those threads together to turn it into a whole piece. When I asked her, what are your main goals for your business right now? Savannah said, right now, my main goal is to bring in my first clients and start building a strong project pipeline. As I'm just launching this business, this early momentum is key, not just to generate income, but to begin refining my process and showcase my design perspective. That's really smart because when you're so early in setting up and starting a business, your messaging becomes more important than anything else. So I'm going to be curious to know whether Savannah is actually showing up in her business or is making that same rookie mistake that many entrepreneurs make, and that is hiding behind the scenes. And even though her business name is her name, is Savannah actually showing up not only for the business, but also for herself? When I asked her, what's the biggest challenge you're currently facing in reaching those goals? Savannah said that biggest challenge is finding ways to not just to network, but to network in the right rooms with people who truly align with her values and the type of work that she's doing. She's also working on how to best communicate her perspective and design philosophy so that potential clients immediately understand who she is and what she offers and how she can bring value to their project. So immediately there's a messaging problem right there. If Savannah's ideal clients are still not understanding what values that she's providing, it's probably because she's using the word sustainability as part of her ethos. And sustainability is something that either hits or misses. And most of the time it misses. So she needs to find another way to talk about her business and exactly what she provides without using fluffy terms that actually scare a lot of people away. When I asked her, have you done any work on building your personal brand? She says, yes, I've done quite a bit to get my brand off the ground. I've launched my website, set up my Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, and Google business profile to start building a digital presence. She's also created business cards and real estate booklets, and they are now into the public. That's really, really great. What she's referring to, though, is basic marketing branding, not personal branding per se. So I want to take a look at what has she done outside of just the generic branding that a lot of businesses have to do, like a website, like finding networking groups, like putting a business card together. Is she part of this brand or has she removed herself completely? Having said that, let's meet Savannah Dodge. Savannah, welcome to the Fairy BOSSmother Show. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Savannah Dodge, everyone. What a great name, firstly.
Thank you. People always ask me, like, have you been to Savannah? Did your parents name you after the city? And like the amount of fun facts that I have about the city of Savannah is hilarious.
Okay. Can you share us one fact about Savannah?
Yeah, so I had a contractor call me yesterday, and he was telling me about this island off of the coast. And he was telling me how he went there and partied for one whole summer and how I should definitely go and visit.
Okay.
So, yeah.
It does a nice little positive to have. Savannah party. Savannah Dodge, we'll find out who you are in a second. So before we
Yeah.
get started, Savannah, I always ask my guests this question. Do you want the full-on fairy boss mother, no filters, all the truth, or do you want the kitty gloves on and I could go slightly easy on you?
No, you can give me the full unfiltered version.
Ah, okay, gloves are off, guys. All right. Well, I'll start off slowly, Savannah. Tell
Okay.
us who you are and what you do in your business.
So I'm an interior designer and I have my own design company called Savannah Dodge Interiors. And we do residential and hospitality design that is really holistic and rooted in sustainability and self-expression. And yeah, really playing with like textures and colors and just finding ways to express ourselves in our spaces.
Okay, you mentioned the word holistic. What does that
Yeah.
mean to you?
Well, for me, I think, existing in this world that's so fast-paced and there's just so much going on, like going into your house and just having like this space be you and being able to focus on your health, your mental health, your physical health, being able to like connect with the people who are in your life, being able to connect with yourself. And, your space is, yes, meant to function physically for you and it's meant to like, be beautiful in whatever way you define that. But I also think it's meant to like better your life and better yourself. So
Yeah,
that's
I love that. I love that. I'll be so curious to see what your house looks like then, if that is what you bring to your clients.
yeah, it's a lot of thrifting, a lot of like finding things on Facebook Marketplace and antique centers and things like that.
Yeah, talk about holistic, right?
Yeah.
Sustainability. All
Yeah.
right. So I love that. I love the fact that you are definitely bringing the individuality in everyone's home. You want them to feel
Mhm.
comfortable in where they're occupying the most amount of space, right?
Right.
Yeah. So how did this all start? What happened before you started your business?
Yeah, so, well, I guess to go way back, because like who decides to get into interior design? It's kind of a random field.
Mm.
And I was 16 when I decided that I wanted to become an interior designer. And my dad had an HVAC company growing up. And so in our house, we always had floor plans everywhere. And he was like designing HVAC systems, which I was like, okay, cool. But like, let me redesign this floor plan. So in my head, I would look at these floor plans as like a 10-year-old and be like, how can I make this better? And so as I was in high school and all the adults are like, what do you want to do with your life when you go to college? Blah, blah, blah. And, I was like, I want to be an interior designer. And all of the adults were like, what? Maybe
Mm.
you should do business instead or something.
That
And
is
like,
business.
yeah. And I was like,
Yeah.
no, this is my path. And I know it so deeply. Like my intuition was like, this is it. And so I went to college. I have a degree in interior design. I went to Suffolk University out in Boston. And yeah, started working I graduated during COVID. So I kind of like did some miscellaneous jobs in different fields and eventually started working for some designers in New York City and have kind of just been bopping around ever since and starting my own business to, kind of have my own ideas of design for my clients in a way that I think the industry could use more of.
Yeah. And can you give me an example of what that means?
Yeah, so kind of like tying back into the whole holistic mindset, I think a lot of designers are moving toward that. And I think every designer has their own unique like aesthetic and fingerprint. And I think that mine is unique. And I think I am still young, and so I'm still developing that and getting to a place where I can like bring all of these crazy ideas I have in my head to fruition. But yeah, I mean, I think any creative kind of wants to have their voice heard and express that and bring something new to the table. So yeah,
All right, I want
trying
you to
to,
paint me a picture, Savannah, because I want
yeah.
to see what's going on in your head. Paint me your perfect house and what the inside looks like.
Yeah, so it's actually funny. My friends and I were playing this card game the other day, and that was one of the questions. And
Okay.
and mine is, I mean, I think it changes every day, but I guess right now it's an older home. I would say probably like colonial style in the Northeast, so like 100 plus years old. And I want to like renovate it in a way that has this really light energy to it, like kind of taking this old historic home that has a lot of history and has a story to it and has like memories already within it, and taking that and honoring that and turning it into something fresh and modern, and adding color and pattern and fun and texture into it with rugs and textiles and wallpapers and everything in between and light fixtures, and just, making it a space where you can feel like you can express yourself and you can explore who you are and what you want to do. And, I think vintage finds and reupholstering those in a fun fabric and just kind of like shifting the space as you evolve as a human. So yeah, I guess it's a bit more conceptual, but
yeah. Because what I'm imagining is bringing almost kind of like bringing nature into the home, because you're talking about light, you're talking about energy. And I know you're still young in your field and you just, not recently just graduated from interior designing. I mean, you are very serious about interior designing if you decided, you know what, at the age of 16, I want to be an interior designer, Dad, and then decided to take that into your education, which is not cheap, by the way, right?
True, very true, yes.
Right. And then the Savannah Dodge Interiors was born. So, Savannah, let's say, what is the biggest thing keeping you from getting to where you want to be right now, other than the fact that, you just started your business?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, we all have our own traumas and our own histories and our own like barriers, whether it's outside forces or internal forces. And I think, I probably have some fear inside of me rooted to something, which I'm still trying to figure out. I don't know if it's this like fear of failure or this, I don't want to say imposter syndrome, because I don't feel like an imposter. Like, I know I'm a good designer and I know that I can do it, but I think we all have this like thing inside of us that we have to like face. And that takes time, and that takes a lot of just like self-reflection and just like doing it. Like, I've found that just like taking the steps, even if they're little micro steps, in whatever direction feels right, like as long as I'm taking micro directions, then at least I know I'm doing something and I'm walking in what I hope is the direction I'm trying to go. So, like even being on the show, is a micro step to getting closer to this dream that I have in my head. So, yeah.
So what made you feel ready for the Fairy BOSSmother Show today?
I love honest, real conversations. I mean, that is my favorite thing in the world. And I would love to have a podcast one day. And you will be for sure one of my guests. But so, yeah. And I also think, when it comes to marketing and sales, like, I think that's probably where I struggle more than a lot of the other kind of like business management development categories. And so being able to talk to people who specialize in marketing and branding and putting your name out there and how to express yourself, because like, I know who I am, I know what I'm trying to say, but relaying that through the plethora of avenues that are out there. I mean, there's so many things you can do. It's overwhelming. And so to be able to have an honest, real, and raw conversation in a public setting for other people to witness, and to like have someone say, this is stopping you and you should look at that. Like, I think we all need that in our lives.
Yeah. All right. One of the things that was an alarm bell for me, Savannah, when you were talking, was the fears. And you were talking about how you are still in the process of uncapping what those traumas could potentially be. Now, what is your gut telling you right now? If there was one thing that you just couldn't do today, what is that thing?
I guess it's maybe hard to find the right words for it, but I guess it would probably be something along the lines of like fear of failure or fear of rejection, or I think it's more fear of like me not living up to the potential that I know that I have, and that can be really debilitating sometimes. Like, even though you're capable of it and you have these dreams that you can do, but they're so overwhelming that you're almost like a deer in the headlights and you're like, oh my God, but how do I start climbing that mountain? And so just kind of getting over that like paralyzed feeling. I guess I don't know if that really answers your question, but.
So I know you're working full-time somewhere else while you're building up your portfolio. Then I know in your business, you mentioned how you've got a website going, you've started your Instagram, and you've made all of the steps to start. Now, the next step is to do. So, Savannah, how many people a day do you approach for your business?
That's probably where I'm stuck. I think that right there is where I'm struggling. Like I
Yeah.
know I have a CRM, I have people on it, I know who I need to contact. My boyfriend runs a real estate brokerage in New York. Like I have people to talk to and to network with and all of that. But I think it's like just I'm almost like stuck in this like, well, what do I say? Like,
Yeah.
how do I sell my business and myself without being like a salesman? How do I do it in a
Right.
way that's authentic to myself and to the business that I'm trying to start?
Okay,
And
Savannah,
so,
let's do a quick exercise right now. I think
okay.
you have a fear of rejection for sure. You're scared that people are going to just put the phone down and say, no, Savannah, I don't even want to hear it. Like, talk to the hand. And that's not going to get you very far because you need lots of rejections to get that one perfect yes. And when you get that yes, it's a big dopamine hit. And when
Mm-hmm.
you're not getting that daily dopamine hit, it kind of makes you think, you know what, it's not worth it. I don't want to do this anymore. And then all of the other excuses and rejections pile on top of you. But when you start a business, sales and marketing, sadly, that's like the biggest part of your business. The infrastructure that you mentioned, you have a CRM system, that's great. But the CRM system is not doing anything if you're not actively going out in front of people to say, you know what, Savannah Dodge Interiors is open for business. Now, one of the other things that I think is a problem for you right now, Savannah, is your target audience. So you're talking to realtors, but when you're talking to people, you're talking about your business in a really roundabout way, using big words like holistic. A lot of people will be like, oh my God, it's such a hippy dippy thing. And I don't know what that means. And I don't know how I can translate that into number one, interior design, number two, into my home. And number three, how the hell is this going to like help me feel better in my space? So it's like uncapping those big words into bite-sized micro pieces of information. So I'm going to be looking at your website and your Instagram to see whether you're doing any of that. So I'm curious to know how you're actually talking about your business and how you're talking about yourself in your business. But Savannah, let's assume, right, you have a lot of clients. Like, I don't even mean like $500 clients. I'm talking big project. You're talking like each client is worth $5,000 to $20,000, like at a stretch.
Yeah.
Oh, money is not an issue anymore for you. Now what? Now what do you want to do in your business now? You're successful. What is the legacy that you want to leave for yourself?
Yeah. I mean, I think, in my personal life, I would say I'm a fairly confident, like self-aware person. But then when you step into this like professional thing where you're trying to birth this baby of a business, it like really tests that part of you. And, I want to, leave a legacy for myself and my family of being confident and being authentic. And, when you do face these fears, you can like acknowledge that they're there, but you can still work through that and get over the hurdle and continue to do that because I think that's life lesson in general. And I think that this part of starting a business is just like, a component of life lessons in general. And so I'm trying to approach it from that mindset and I'm trying to like, express myself and show people that, you can be a strong, confident, independent woman who's financially successful and you can leave a financially sound environment for your family. And
okay, let's like let me say this in another way. What is your biggest dream right now?
okay.
Pipe dream. If there was one thing that you were thinking, you know what, I would love to do this one thing, and it just feels like a million miles away for you. What is that dream for you?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess for me, it's hard to pinpoint it to one thing. I have so many.
Give me everything. Give me everything you got. But can you make each of these like little dreams in like one bite size?
Okay.
Boom,
It
boom,
would
boom,
be,
boom.
so I would be, think like Joanna Gaines. She's a designer, but she's also hosting a cooking show. She has books. She has a whole retail establishment. She's done so many collaborations with other brands. Like they've created this whole like empire almost. And I want to be able to do that. I want to have not just a successful interior design business, but I want books, I want podcasts, I want, some kind of like YouTube show or something. I want, to collaborate with some beautiful brands that have amazing ethos themselves and to collaborate with them and to create beautiful pieces of art with them.
Savannah, what you're describing to me right now is Savannah Dodge is wanting a powerful personal brand. That is literally what you're trying to tell me without using those words. Because
Yeah.
having a podcast, a show, YouTube, books, all of that is based on, number one, your name, number two, your expertise, and number three, your experience. It's not anyone else's lived experience. These are things that's coming directly from you, your head and your heart, and all of your lived experience. So, Savannah, we need to build up the value in your name.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's how you're going to get that TV show. That's how you're going to write those books that are not just sitting gathering dust. Like, people actually want to read it. This is how you're going to collaborate with people who actually want to work with you. You're not chasing them. They're lining up to say, you know what? I have to work with Savannah Dodge. There's like no one else who can do this specific thing for me. And the way to do that, Savannah, is finding the Savannah way, or the Savannah methodology, or that Savannah formula. Like, what is that one thing as part of your interior design world that you do, and you only do, and you do it the best? I think that's the missing formula in your entire business. And you're still young in your business, so you've got time to figure this out. But girl, if you were to nail that, this is what I do, this is why I do it, this is the reason why it's so important that people fix this, and I have the solution to be able to fix that pain point.
Yeah, those are some really amazing questions I have been asking myself on repeat. I think it's just formulating the right responses to those. That is, because there's so many right answers, there's always so many right answers, and there's so many ways to answer all of those questions. And it's finding the one that will, like, yes, be authentic to what I'm feeling and thinking internally, but also like one that will also resonate with other people, that they can understand.
Forget about the other people. Look, forget about the other people. What I want you to do right now is, the person that you want to work for is for yourself, right?
Yeah.
So you are your perfect client, because everything that you want, that house, I want you to think about that historic colonial home. Is probably super outdated, but it's got a shit ton of character. And your job is to turn this into your own sanctuary, right? But this home is only going to feel right for you because you've built it for yourself. We need to be able to translate that to every other home that you could be working for. So there's a few things that we can do in order for you to build out that methodology. So you give me the answers, okay? Number one, why would someone want to hire an interior design? Because interior designing, for a lot of people, is a nice to have, is not a necessity.
Yeah. I guess the answer to that question is to, enhance your life, to make it, yes, more beautiful. I think everyone thinks of the aesthetic version of interior design, but there's so many other, like, health factors that tie into it. Your physical health, I mean, color theory is very real, and color does affect how you show up in this world. All the way to your mental health. Like, if you have a space in your home where you feel comfortable and confident to explore whatever it is that you're going through, like, that is so important to all of us. And if you have a family, to have a space that you can connect, to have a space where you can gather to create memories. I think these are all important aspects that, you can create. Yeah. And I had a great therapy session one time where this woman was telling me, as an interior designer, your role is to move energy in the space. And so, like, feng shui, like, you're literally moving energy in the space. So I would say that is.
So one of the quickest wins that I can think of you right now is, you're talking about energy a lot. Now, what is the opposite of good energy, right? Bad energy. So what you're essentially doing is you're getting rid of that bad energy in someone's home and turning into good energy. What does bad energy practically look like? Can we imagine a home? We're not even thinking about the whole house. We're thinking about just one room.
Yeah.
Right? Let's assume a teenage boy's room, right?
Yes.
Right? We can all imagine what that looks like. It's got clutter. The walls are like just beige or some like crappy monitor. It smells. There's no personality, or there's like some sort of like memorabilia, but it's kind of like thrown on. There's no design element to it. And as a result, that room is disrespected. That room is chaotic. That kid would probably not want to spend time in there. When they do it with bad intentions, right? So we're going to think about problems, and who would be the perfect client for you to be able to fix that? Most likely mothers and parents.
Yeah.
So one idea, and this is just an idea based on like nothing other than our very small conversation, is targeting people like that. Do you have, and this could be a case study that you're working on, And Savannah, you can like just go on Facebook, go on LinkedIn, go on Instagram and talk about this one specific problem. I am looking for case study clients. If this sounds like you, contact me right now because I have 5 spaces open. Inviting people into your world, into your own ecosystem. And you're then saying, this is your pitch. I would love to work on removing bad energy from a typical teenager's room. It could be a boy or a girl, but I am looking for the messiest room. I'm looking for a challenge. I'm looking for the messiest room. Smelly, dirty, paints, posters everywhere, clothes everywhere. I want to transform that room and give yourself a timeline. Like, is this a 24-hour project? Is this a 48-hour project? Because when you give yourself a timeline and urgency, the first thing people are going to think about is, oh my God, can she do that? Look at this room. Is she able to transform this room in like 48 hours? The answer is yes, because Savannah Dodge is that good. And then what you're doing, Savannah, this is how you build your personal brand publicly. You are going to start documenting what that transformation looks like, because then that is going to be your walking, talking portfolio. And all of this receipts, I call it, it's out for the world to see publicly. And I know you have a slight fear of failure and rejection. This is on your own timeline. You've given yourself the challenge. You've got paid clients saying, Savannah, oh my God, that sounds like me. My daughter's crazy and she doesn't do anything that I ask her to do. And there's like stuff everywhere. Help. You've got yourself clients wanting your work now. And this is all interior designing.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah, when I say that to you, how does that make you feel?
For me, I think like finding the people and because I know I can do the actual design part. That part is like not like I can do that. I think it's, finding the right people who will understand what I'm trying to design.
Yeah. And I'm curious to know what your website actually says. I'm feeling that you are finding it hard to explain what it is that you do because you haven't pinpointed what the problem is and you haven't pinpointed who your target audience is. And once you fix those 2 things, it's going to be so much easier for you to explain what it is that, because interior design is transforming your space in a way that respects your personality. Like if that room looks and feels like you, you're going to be happier in that room. You're going to want to stay in that room. You want to be able to create and relax and do whatever in that room. That's all it is. But it's translating that vision into real life. And a lot of people don't have that skill set. Girl, you do. So you have to own that power for yourself.
Yeah. No, I mean, I 100% agree with that statement for sure. I mean, I think being able to visualize a space in a 3-dimensional capacity and like fully understand and manipulate that space is, I have come to learn, a skill that many people are not born with. Yeah. So,
all right. Yeah. So without further ado, let's check out your website. So I'm just going to share my screen. Okay. So Savannah Dodge Interiors, you've got projects, journals, services, about, contact. And the first thing I'm seeing is creating beautiful spaces for beautiful people. Okay. Why did you come up with that statement?
I want people to understand that like, they're coming to me and who they are coming to me as is already beautiful. Like who they are is enough. And I'm just trying to make their space match that energy and to like bring out the best in all of us, to bring out the best in who we are and to bring out the best in our space. And I think having, a beautiful space for beautiful people, I think embodies that statement.
Okay. So to me, it sounds like you are only going to work with people who are very confident in themselves. And this could potentially, I just feel like people who are that confident in themselves, they see themselves as being beautiful. It could be quite subjective because not a lot of people feel like that about themselves. And it might put them off in them actually choosing to work with you. So rather than focusing on the aesthetics, the aesthetical elements of your work, I think you should focus on the pain point instead. What are you looking to fix and why are you the expert? Because when you talk about the problem, instantly you're flooding people's ideas with, oh my God, that sounds like me. And shit, I didn't think about that. And I didn't even think about using an interior designer to fix that thing. Maybe I should contact Savannah.
Yeah, I think I have a hard time speaking in like the negative. You know, like I try to be so optimistic, and I'm always talking about the positives and the beauty in things. And so, you know, I understand that we all have these problems in our life that we're trying to solve. And so I think, you know, tying back to how do I speak in a way that feels authentic to me, you know, because I'm such a positive, optimistic person. So how do I tell someone, this is your problem, let me fix it? Like, that's just like, I don't know, that's like a hard thing for me to do, maybe.
Well, in the most simplest terms, Savannah,
Yeah.
you are fixing chaos.
Yeah.
If you can design something like this, and is this your photo or is this stock image right now?
So that's a rendering. So I made that in a 3D
Okay.
software and then rendered it and photoshopped it.
Okay, perfect. So this is your work. It's not a stock photo. I mean, these images will be great to show you are bringing a lot of like serenity and calmness and togetherness into your work. What you are fixing are chaos. Chaos can be translated in so many different ways, like that messy teenager's room. But you need to start speaking in a way that is easy for people to understand. A messy room is not negative, but it is what it is. Just say, be direct and saying, this is a messy room. There's no like peace in that room. There's no beauty in that room. There's no serenity in that room. How can you concentrate with this mess? This is what I can turn your room into. That could be an example, right? And then that's it. That's your entire website, you know? So it's just that rendering. It's not clear that this is your work. And then I think what the next part of your website could then do is talk about how, you know, the average person lives like this. You're just stating facts, right? The average person lives like this. Things are thrown haphazardly. You could have like mismatched furniture that actually don't work cohesively together because it wasn't bought with aesthetics in mind. It was bought with functionality. Functionality and aesthetics can actually marry quite well together when you have an eye for it. On the other side, you could also, I mean, there's so many different elements to a home. That home could potentially have been inherited and they've not done anything to it because the work is too overwhelming. What you're basically doing is, look, I'm not looking at the whole project. I'm not looking at all of your house. Let's start with one room and take one room is one project. And when you focus on one room at a time, you are then able to control that environment better. So your superpower, Savannah, is control. It's turning chaos into peace, creativity, and it's really translating that individual's personality into something that is like born and fed into that room.
Yeah.
Do you agree or disagree?
No, I agree. I think, you know, for me, when I picture my ideal client, it's this young family who's just purchased a house and they want it to feel like themselves.
Yeah.
You know, and so for me, I think what it is when you're saying go room by room, I design in very much the whole house.
Yeah.
Yes, you break it down into the rooms, but for me, like it's like the whole house, it's the yard, it's the whole entire thing. When you step onto your property, it's a whole package. And so, you know, I think, to me ties into when I say holistic, I think that ties back into this like kind of abstract word.
Right, because you want to make sure that each room looks like it belongs to the same family, right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, packaging is also another issue for you then, because if you're talking about a project where you're only focusing on the whole house, that could be intimidating for anyone thinking, oh my God, I just bought a house and now I have to think about decorating and designing this whole thing. How much more is it going to cost me to do everything from start to finish? That is so intimidating for an individual. So it could be that you break up the process a little bit. You know, the first project could be, I'm going to show you what this room could become. And this is where you do your rendering. You don't even design it like in person. It's just, here's a blueprint for it. Go ahead and do it yourself. That could be the cheapest package.
Yeah, I actually have, so I think it should be on my website. I have 3 services that I kind of like offer right now, which is one is design consultation, which is kind of what you're saying, where I kind of come in and maybe it's a portion of the house, maybe it's the whole house, whatever is in their budget. And I just provide the specs and the visuals and like the outline of what it could be. And then I let them order it or sit with it until they're ready to purchase it through me. And so then the second service is the furnishings where I would manage, like we would just pick everything, design everything, and then we would also go, like me and my team would go through with purchasing it, which procurement is a whole beast.
Yeah.
Yes. And so, we can handle that whole, because a big part of being a designer is, alleviating stress and time and energy. Like designing a whole house is so much work.
Yeah.
So much work. I mean, the amount of decisions that need to get made, the amount of coordination and communication that needs to happen with so many different people, that's what a design, like to answer your previous question of like why hire a designer, that's a huge part of it, like the same reason that you hire someone to clean your house, like you can spend your time with your kids instead of spending hours cleaning your house. Like it's to, where your clients want to prioritize their time. And then
Okay,
you
so
can.
may I ask, how much do you
Yeah.
charge for that whole house? Like if you were to do everything from start to finish?
Yeah. So I charge an hourly rate right now. I would love to get to a point where I do a fixed fee based on the scope of work. But for right now, I do $100 an hour for design and project management. And depending
Okay,
on the,
Savannah, I'm going to
yeah,
stop you. I want you to stop undercharging yourself right now. That is going to be your immediate task because the minute you do things hour by hour, you are going to attract really shitty clients who disrespect you, who dishonor your time, and they're going to try to milk you for everything you have and try to
yeah,
squeeze it into an hour. They're never going to be hiring you for a full project when you do that.
yeah,
But when you split up your project into like chunks, the biggest package, I'm talking like high ticket package, you just
yeah,
told me right now, procurement takes ages. You're talking to so many people. This takes so much time. You're not getting compensated for that. So when you charge for a full package, and of course it depends on the home and the size and the complexities, you need to give yourself a project baseline of the starting price is this. And if only the most serious people are going to say, you know what, Savannah, yeah, I'm going to pay you that. And that's why with your lowest ticket item, which will be your rendering, and don't even call it a consultation because no one's going to understand that. Get your room designed by a real interior designer so that you can translate that for yourself in your own home, right? So the language
yeah,
needs to be changed completely. And you need to raise your value up a little bit because I think you're disrespecting yourself by doing this to yourself. And this is
yeah.
probably why it's hard and really intimidating for you to go out and sell your services because your services are also not put together at the moment in a way that makes sense for you.
Yeah, I guess it's, how do I have a competitive edge against other designers in the area who have years on their side? Like they have years in their business that I just don't have yet. And so how do I be competitive in that field? And so,
Yeah, so you're not competing against price anymore, right? You're not selling apples here. You're designing a whole home. So
yeah.
you need to stop thinking like you're like a commodity right now. You are an expert in your field, right? Can you say that out loud with me? Savannah Dodge. I'm Savannah Dodge and I'm an expert in my field.
I am Savannah Dodge and I am an expert in my field of interior
Okay,
design.
Savannah, you can look me in the eye and tell me that without your eyes wandering. Tell me with a little bit more conviction. Come on, this is a confidence exercise right now.
I'm Savannah Dodge, and I am an expert interior designer.
Can you also tell me I will stop charging by the hour?
Well, hold on, because there is like this is an industry, like charging hourly isn't somewhat industry standard. And yes, like this is a whole industry debate. It really is. Like charging as a designer is is not a straightforward system. And so a lot of
Do you want to be the industry standard? Or do you want to be the industry like category leader? If you want a show, if you want those books, if you want that podcast, you cannot live by the rules of industry standards. You have to break those standards.
Yes, but then but to get to the point of charging a flat fee or like I have to have data as to how many hours it's going to take me. And so until I get that data, I'm just kind of like shooting an arrow in the dark as to what that flat rate would be. And I actually think I would be losing money because it's more likely that I'm going to like estimate a lower amount than it would probably take. Whereas if I'm doing hourly and I give hourly estimates and those change based on my clients making decisions, like that would be transparent. And then I would be invoicing based off of the hours worked. Like they would be given an hourly estimate. So like in the proposal, there is like a range of this would probably be the lowest number with this many hours, which means we don't do X, Y, and Z. If you want X, Y, and Z, it's going to be this. So like there is somewhat of a starting price point involved. I think it's more just like, and I've flirted with the idea of doing a percentage of the project budget But then even some people don't even know what their project budget
Yeah.
is.
See, you're overcomplicated. This is getting too complicated now because the minute you say, all right, this is my lowest fee, you know what? It's not even $100. I'm now dropping it to 80 because the other person has said that they can do the same thing as you and they've dropped their prices. What you end up doing to yourself is you are now in a price war. And that client who could have been a client really, really easily, if you, number one, your portfolio is going to be really, really important. And this is why start with tiny little projects like the one I mentioned, because you need to show off that you know what you're doing, but you need to start micro. And you said it yourself, micro actions is how you move that needle forward. So start with the micro actions, Savannah, instead of thinking of, oh, but the big house and I don't know how many hours it's going to take. Forget about that. Right now, you don't even have a portfolio. So we need to work on building your portfolio. And it starts room by room, even area by area. Start in your home. And one of the easiest way for you to do that is showing up on social media to say, you know what? I'm not even going to look at this whole room. I'm going to look at this room into zones. So this little area, so let's imagine there's a bookshelf and the bookshelf is a freaking mess. What you're going to do is with my interior design eye, let me show you how I can turn this little zone into a magnificent piece. And for people on Instagram, they're going to want to know this information for free because look, I can film in front of this area now and it looks aesthetically pleasing, but the rest of the area looks like shit. And that doesn't matter because what you're doing is you're designing space in a way that is functional, cohesive, and looks beautiful. And this is how you can start to create content for yourself with an interior design lens. Do it zone by zone and start with yourself first. And then when you have clients, start room by room. And the more you do, this is how clients are going to start paying you more and more for those bigger projects.
Yeah. I think for me, my relationship with social media is I, as an individual person, don't want to be on social media. Like, I don't like social media. I hardly post to my personal account. And so for me, I think one of the bigger hurdles that I'm trying to also kind of face is how do I be authentic to myself when it comes to marketing, knowing that social media is not my strong suit. And so how do I use networking and networking events? Because if I get in front of a person, I know I'm good, So I think for me, like, how do I navigate that in the beginning until I get to a point where I can, hire someone to run social media for me?
Forget about that. Look, the proof is in the pudding. What you're doing is, Savannah, it's as easy as take out your phone, find a tiny little corner in your house where you think, you know what, even this like tabletop, let me show you how I can transform this tabletop, and then do a time lapse. And then it's just you doing things. You're not talking, you're not narrating, you're not performing. You are literally doing your job. And that's what you're putting out there because you're stacking up your content. It does not have to be for a specific audience. You have to do it for yourself first. And this is the foundation of you building your personal brand. You just said you don't want to be on social media. You don't know how. It's another intimidating thing to do. But with practice comes progress. So you got to start practicing without an audience. And I know social media can be really intimidating, but no one's looking at what you're doing because you're new. So ignore that. You're doing this for yourself. You're building up a portfolio. You're showing off your skills, but you're doing it with the camera on now. It's just practice. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay, Savannah, I've punched you a lot today. How are you feeling right now?
I feel good. I think it's still for me figuring out how to utilize social media and how to, and in a way that's authentic to me. And also given like, and is realistic given the like time and energy that I have available to put toward it. Yeah. So I mean, we'll get there.
Yeah. Look, I'm gonna one final caveat before we close this episode. When are you the least busiest in your schedule?
Probably at night.
Okay.
Yeah, like after the day.
So I want you to spend no more than 30 minutes every week looking. So I want you to this is just in your own home. You don't have to do it anywhere else. Like a tiny little corner that you can do something with.
Yeah.
You should switch on that camera just for practice. It does not have to be posted. Just film it. It can stay in your own phone's library. You're not posting it anywhere. But I want you to hit record and I want you to commit to yourself and give yourself that time and space. Because Savannah, if it's important enough for you to grow your business, this is a super important thing. You have to get over your fears. You have to stop thinking like a commodity and you got to start valuing yourself more, right? This is how you're going to respect what you bring to the table. So practice
Yeah.
makes progress. Find half an hour. I'm asking for half an hour a week. I'm not asking you to do this every day. And then start stacking up those content just for yourself. Do not hit publish, and you're going to start to see, okay, you know what? I can start to improve here. You can see what you've been doing, what you like and don't like. And then you're going to start to find a style that actually feels authentically you. Because right now, your ideas are all over the place and you're not pulling it in right now. You're not pulling into yourself.
Yeah. No, I agree.
All right. Well, that's a wrap, Savannah. What's the biggest breakthrough you've had today with the Fairy Boss Mother?
I would say just realizing that I need to value myself more when it comes to my professional setting as a designer in the industry.
Yeah. Do you feel scared, confident? Like, how are you feeling about your next steps?
I probably feel a little bit like nervous, like as like a knee-jerk reaction, but internally I feel empowered to know that I can do it.
It's kind of like, I'm gonna break through this.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And what's the one thing that you're going to implement immediately based on our conversation?
I'm going to spend half an hour every week finding an avenue of expressing my ideas and my business brand through content making of some form.
No, Savannah, you're going to start doing your job on camera. That's it. It's not finding a way to do it. I just told you what that was. It's literally like go to that bookshelf, reorganize it. That's a form of interior design, right? If there's a furniture that you happen to upholster, film it. That's the interior design. If you're in the process of rendering something on your computer, film it. That's you doing your work. Any little thing that is Savannah is being an interior designer, film it. Do not post it. Film it. Do not overthink this. It does not have to be perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you do that?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Pinky promise. I'm going to hold you to that. I'm going to be DMing you and like, Savannah, did you do it? Did you do it? Did you do it?
That's funny. Yeah, I'm going to have to send you video proof every week.
And I was like, is Savannah doing her homework? I better check up on her. All right, Savannah. One last thing. Do you feel like you can do this yourself, or do you feel like you need a little bit more expert guidance to get you on your way?
I think I can do it on myself. Like I know I can do it.
Well, I feel like you're a little bit more confident when you first joined the show.
Yeah.
There is so much potential in you, Savannah. You just need to let go of your guard and just go. So can we do one last exercise? I love these exercises. Right. Okay. Savannah, I want you to break that wall down. Those fears that's holding you back. I just want you to be like, get away, fears. I just want to like rip you
away, fears.
I don't know, slap, or I don't know what you do. Like you can punch it, you can slap it, you can tear it open. Let's go. Let's do it.
Okay. We're tearing down the walls.
All right. Well done, Savannah. I know this was very much out of your comfort zone, but you did really, really well. Keep me posted in your journey and can't wait to see how you progress into your next chapter.
Yeah, thank you so much. I've loved being on your show.
If you enjoyed this episode of the Fairy BOSSmother Show and you're a small business owner, apply to be a guest on the show and get your very own live brand review. You can apply by going to my website, www.bossdiplomat.com, or snap the QR code on this video. See you soon.